Welcome to today's Sabassembler. As I already promised last week on Psylocke's unboxing, I'll be unboxing today's Rogue statue from XM Studios, as you already know. So thanks for you all being here, and also thanks again to all my fellow Sabassemblers and fellow collectors for your support. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to hit the like button, and definitely don't forget to subscribe so we can get more people into this whole community and you won't miss out on many more awesome unboxings. So okay, as I said already, we have the Rogue from XM Studios, another awesome piece from my X-Men collection. And this doesn't come in a huge box, but it's got some decent weight to it, I guess. And we have her here, and so let's do less talking and more unboxing. As usual, you just have this whole cardboard boxing and with the usual XM Studios tape. I don't expect this to be a really big statue, but we'll see. As usual, we have this black envelope from XM Studios with this art print. This is a very dark art print. In fact, we have Rogue in the middle of battle. You can see it. This is unusually very dark. This is kind of surprises me a little bit, but the idea, the concept is pretty nice. Hope you can see it. Looks good. And we have the packaging guide and the QR codes for the assembly video as usual, but who cares about that now? We just want to see the statue, so just put this aside and let's get the box out. Okay, so this is a relatively small, medium-sized box, and as usual, you have the nice sturdy XM Studios boxes. You have what's XM logo on top, and the X-Men Rogue logo on the side, and I guess on the other side it's the same. So let's just get this out. Okay, so on the side you have, as usual, a short description of the character of Rogue, quarter scale. And okay, so let's get out all the pieces as usual, and we'll see you back there for the assembly.
መቻየሽውና የጎጃም ዝና ገና ምን አይተሽ ሌት ያለሽ ገና ምን አይተሽ ሌት ያለሽ ገና ወይ መርጦ ለማርያም ሉማም የደጀኔ የማኛው አውድማ የማር መቃዘኔ ነይ ሸበል በረንታ ሞጣ ደብረ ወርቄ አየሩ ተስማሚ ሰው ምናፈቅ ገና ምን አይተሽ እንዴት ያለሽ ገና ምን አይተሽ እንዴት ያለሽ ደንዬ ራገር የጎጃም ወይ ማሩ ደንዬ እንኳን ሰው ቀርቶ ያጫውታል
Okay, welcome here. We have all the individual pieces unboxed. It doesn't come with too many pieces, but we have the base right here already in the front. This base is actually bigger than I expected it to be, and it's actually much more heavier, and wow. And as I said, I was a bit surprised about the base. So I mean, you can see as usual you have this huge Sentinel. I don't know if it's a head or a shoulder piece or whatever, but it's a huge piece of a Sentinel. Okay, forget about that, and we're here for the assembly. So I believe the first part is this one small metal piece, and that I believe should go in on here on the right side, I believe, and with a small magnet right here on the side, and that went in pretty easily. And next we have this small piece with the wire, and that should go in here on this circle piece here with the kind of cut off wire side into this hole. And I believe you can kind of bend it a little bit. It's actually really like a plastic kind of rubber material, and that goes in, and to a certain extent you can kind of just shape it around, and so it goes out, looks pretty good. And next I believe should be Rogue herself, and Rogue is actually pretty big. Wow, I didn't expect that, to be honest, either. So, and she comes with one big peg and key peg, and you have really nice. She looks pretty good. I mean, all the shading and so looks nice. And here in the front, oh, I didn't see that. You have this small piece of foam that you just take out, and you have another one right here just to protect all these kind of knee pads from her boots so they don't break off. And you have actually more of these tiny things all around. I didn't see those before. Just take those out, but I mean, that's XM Studios top-notch protection for her statue. So here on the left side or right side you have the place for the key, and just fit that in slowly, and there we go. And that was no issue. She went in. Well, perfect. So next, let's start with the right hand, the right arm, which doesn't have any switch outs, and that one just goes in with a magnet. Beautiful, looks good. And next, we'll start with the switch out with the same kind of wire thing we just put in the front. She just rips out as she has on the art print, and that goes in here too with another key magnet. And we have two portraits, and the question is just which one to use. Honestly, there isn't really a big difference between these two. On one she has a smirk, and I'll just go with this one on the left, and just fit her in also with a magnet, and she fits in there nicely. And that was it, actually, pretty much for the assembly for the first option. Well, that was it. And here we have Rogue from XM Studios, and we have another two switch outs, or three switch outs in fact. And wow, there's actually quite a lot of things going on in the base. You see all the details around here. Oh, we have even more foam right here in the front. I didn't even, because they're so dark, you don't even see it, because the base is also pretty dark, and it's got a similar color and texture to this foam pieces. I just missed out those, and let's just check again if we have more of these anywhere, just to be safe. I believe that was it. Okay. Well, I mean, XM Studios seems to be really into protecting our statues, and I think that's great. Okay, better take these out later than never. Good, so I'll just switch out again the other portrait. Let's see, look at that one. And I think this was the simplest XM Studio statue I ever had to assemble. I think there hasn't been anything simpler than this before. That was really easy, actually. Wow. And yeah, I think I'll take a few moments to look at the details and I'll get back to you for the review. Okay, welcome back. We're here for the review. As already you've seen, we've assembled Rogue and I've had some time to look at the details, and all I can say up to now is I'm pretty much very happy with the statue. There isn't pretty much I can complain about the statue, maybe one or two tiny things, but in general I think this is a great statue, and I think XM nailed Rogue again. I think they did a great job with the character. And I love it always, since this is a comic version, and I'm a big fan of the comic versions always of the statues. And one of the best part of the statues, it's so easy to assemble. As you've seen, it doesn't come with a lot of pieces, and it's just maybe 3 or 5 pieces you just have to put together and they go in really easily. Great job XM Studios, yeah, top notch. And okay, so let's start with the concept. And as usual, or with many X-Men statues, XM Studios likes to use all these Sentinel pieces, and the statue is no exception. As you can see, I think this is the biggest Sentinel base or kind of piece of inner base I've ever seen. Next, I mean, Beast has the whole hand. Here you just have, I don't know if this is a head or a piece of the arm or kind of some joints of ligaments of the Sentinel, but it's a huge piece, and it's right here on the base. Generally the base isn't too big, but I mean, this, you see all this, you see the kind of joints, everything would just cut off or ripped out right here in the center, and looks great. You have all these details of the inside of the mechanical parts of the Sentinel. You have all these wires, and you see all the joints, all the kind of hydraulics on the sides, and so much detail, and see all the battle damages. Great job there. And I mean, the wires here are actually real wires, and you have also these rubber coatings, just like here on the left arm of her. This is also just like that. It looks like she just ripped out the piece right here from the front, and it's just right in the middle of damage on the battle. And as I said, like, this is a real rubber. You can, to a certain extent, you can actually even shape it the way you want. And as I said, like, these wires are real wires, and you can move them around a little bit if you wish to. And you have all these mechanical parts, and the paint job on these things are awesome. Like the base's paint job, this violet purple color of the Sentinel really comes out again with all these battle damages, scratches, or the weatherings have been done phenomenally by XM Studios again, and that's no surprise. And you have this kind of rock ground. It's like the whole Sentinel piece just like crashed down into the ground, and looks really nice. And here in the bottom you have a small kind of this 3 scratches, maybe a small implication for Wolverine, and that's maybe another, we'll come back to that later. And then let's talk about Rogue herself. You have the classical look of Rogue with this green yellow suit and her kind of brown army or X-Men army jacket, and looks great. And you have like her the yellow parts of her suit. You have this kind of yellow leather look, and all the details of the leather with these orangey or dark brown kind of texture paint jobs, and it makes it look like real leather again, just like on a previous XM Studios pieces. Like on Psylocke, for example, you had this leather texture. I mean, I think XM has really nailed the look of leather, and you see that also on her belt. She has this brown belt with the usual X-Men logo right in the center on the belt. And then you have her leather jacket. You have this brown jacket, and I mean, the jacket, when you look at it closely, there's so much detail and so many things going on. You have the zip here in the front, looks like a real zip, and like real metal. And you have these kind of small kind of badges or buttons with the X-Men logo. Very small things you first don't see, but when you start looking at it, you you actually start to see them, and you have also more zips kind of sculpted in, and very small fine things, but they look great. And also that brown leather makes it look like real leather again, and again, as I said before, XM has nailed the leather look. I'm sculpting the leather look and also more. And her green bodysuit has this lighter green, and then you have this more textured dark green parts going all over her from the legs all the way to her torso. And you can see like the way they sculpted her whole body, you can see she has more this color, the more muscular kind of body with where you can see her abs, and everything looks great. And say when you go around, you see all over, you see like all, even the whole shape of her body, like all the muscles, they kind of look out, or they seem to look out, look great. And wow, really nice. I'm not disappointed. And talking about her portrait, and again, XM has nailed the look of the character's portrait. She looks really nice on this one. This is the portrait, I believe, that has a smirk. Like honestly, when you see the both of them together, you have to look twice to really see the difference, because the difference is so small that it's pretty hard to tell. On this one, she has something like a smirk on her face. On the other one, it's a little bit, it's more serious. Let's just switch that out. You probably won't be able to see the difference. Then on the side, you see this kind of strap with her headband. Here she has this really kind of serious, angry look on her face. As I said, you really have to look twice to see the difference between these two portraits, because it's not such a big difference, honestly. I honestly kind of like the smirk face, but I think we have a similar issue for me as we did with Psylocke. I think for this kind of pose, or this kind of scene where she's right in the middle of battle, I would have wished her kind of having a more like angry, or like more roaring out or screaming out look, where you can see the inside of her face, where it's just like screaming like ah, and just that would have looked nice. Because here on both portraits you see her, she has the closed mouth just like with Psylocke, and that makes the two portraits just look too similar. And I think with the screaming out portrait, it would fit more into the scene of battle. But that's just my opinion. I mean, everyone else could have his own, but that's just something I observe here. But apart from that, I mean, I think they did a good job with the hair. The hair maybe might have, I mean, sculpting wise, it's been done very nicely. I mean, Rogue, she has this really dense hair, like the sculpt of her hair is very dense, and not like with Psylocke, she has this kind of fine, long strands. Here her hair is like totally dense, she has a lot of hair, long, and you can see you have the brown parts of her hair, different shadings of brown, lighter brown, blacks on the inside, and then you have the gray white strain that goes down right through the middle. Also looks pretty nice. The white or gray part could have maybe a little bit more text painting or shading, I believe, but that's just something again you see when you look at it, or you become conscious of it when you look closely. But apart from that, the eyes have been done really nicely again on both. She has this green, deep green eyes, and with the kind of the small red capillaries or arteries coming out of her eyes, and looking really nice. And her eyebrows have been done really nicely. They're painted in very nicely, and her lips like very glossy. I mean, almost maybe too glossy like for battle, but they still look really nice. And the skin also looks pretty nice. I think looks great. To me, there isn't pretty much anything to complain about. So okay, so as I said before, this statue comes with 3 switch outs for her left arm, and we've already seen one. As I said, here we have the one where she's just ripping out this huge piece of wire from the Sentinel, and the next switch out would be this kind of Wolverine, or you have this Colossus fist with the Wolverine, how do you call it? These like bone claws coming out, and that's just to show her powers, and looks pretty nice too. And I'm not sure if I'll be using this one, but even though it's a nice extra when I see it now, and maybe it fits good with this portrait where she's kind of looking more angry. And we've seen this one, so I don't know, let's just switch it out with the other portrait. Let's see how that looks. And nah, that doesn't work out. The smirk and this kind of those dangerous claws, kind of, they don't work out, for me at least. So the next option would be the hand where she has Gambit's card. I mean, the Gambit, I mean, there has to be some kind of implication for Gambit when you have Rogue. I mean, for obvious reasons, she's like his girlfriend and so on. And you have this small card as before, and that one just goes in between her two fingers, and you just place it in there, and it goes in like that. So I think the smirk portrait goes good with this switch out, and I can see this, I mean, this pose looking nice. So if you display it next to the XM Gambit statue, could look nice. But still, I don't see myself using this hand anyway. But I mean, that's just a matter of taste. So I don't know, let's see the other head. I mean, you see me taking out all these different, so always switching out the heads here. This doesn't look too bad either, actually, with this portrait. It looks pretty nice. Looks good. And what else? So yeah, so theoretically you have 3 arms and you have 2 heads, so that makes, theoretically, you have 6 possibilities to display this statue. So that's probably more than enough, and as I believe most people, they'll probably just be using one. At least I do mostly. There are only a few statues where I kind of use more switch outs for. Just one more thing, I mean, this is not a very big statue. It's, I'd say, like a medium statue. The base is a little bit bigger than the one of Beast. If you haven't seen the Beast unboxing, I'll leave a link for that. And it's, as I said, a medium-sized statue. It's not like gigantic, but it's not too small either. The base does take up a little bit of space, but so just to give you the measurements on this statue, I believe the tallest option is this one with it's kind of the top of the parts of her headband, and that's almost 52 centimeters, and in depth, I believe, depending on where the front is, I'd say this is the front here, and all the back to the front, to the back of the base, that's 30, we have 32, 33 centimeters, and width, I believe the widest part would be this part here of her arm, all the way to the other end of the base, and that's like, it's about pretty much exactly 39, around 40 centimeters, pretty much exactly 40 centimeters, I believe. Just try to measure that again as accurate as possible. Maybe it's actually smaller, I'm sorry about that. It's more like 36, 37 centimeters. Sorry about that. Yeah, that would be the widest part of the statue. So as I said, this is not a big statue and it's easy to display for sure. And generally I think it's a great statue. It's not an eye-catcher, I think, but it's a really nice statue of Rogue. Like, if you compare this one to the Sideshow Rogue, it's hard to say which one you want. I really like the pose on the Sideshow Rogue maquette where she's like in the air in the danger room. I like that. It's much more dynamic than this one. But generally all the details and so I prefer the XM. The best perfect thing would have been maybe this Rogue in the pose of the Sideshow maquette. That would have been a really nice Rogue, I believe. And we have, as we're lucky again, another plaque from XM Studios. And as usual, I love these plaques from XM. And let's just take this one out. And looking great. And let's just take off this green or turquoise plastic off the top. And looking nice. And here on the plaque you have this more serious look of Rogue and looking good. I hope you can see it. If not, I'll give you a close-up, but I like it and I love to display these statues with these and looking great. So as I said, oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention was, like, yeah, as mentioned before, you had this kind of claws like from Wolverine, just like scratch in. Maybe that's something like that could kind of implication or kind of connects well with this switch out here. You have the claws and then you have the marks, the damages on the Sentinel base. Looking good, nice combination, I think. Maybe most people won't even see that, but it's just something that appeared to me. Okay, so I believe I've mentioned everything there is to mention about the statue. I've heard some people saying that they had some issues with the arms. I personally haven't had any issues. I'm not arms, sorry, with the legs. I haven't had any issues with the legs. They went in nicely without any issues and they stay in place. So if anyone has any questions about that, please let me know. Okay, that was just one more thing I had to mention. And okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's unboxing. And if don't forget to hit the like button, definitely don't forget to subscribe. So God bless you, God bless our statues, and have a nice day. ዳሞት ጃቢተና አንጓጉሶ በርማ አጣፍቶ የሚያለብሰው ፍቅር እንደሸማ ሰው ስራ ወዳድ አፈሩ ለምለም እንዲል ብር ሸለቆ ወርቅና ማርያም ደሜ 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 ቻየሽውና የጎጃም እንዝና ገና 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 ምን አይተሽ ልርት ያለሽ ገና 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 ምን አይተሽ ልርት ያለሽ
አየሽው የውሃ ቃኑን ለአገር ቀርቶ ለዓለም የሚተርፈውን ዲማም ተሻገሪ ዋሸራም እለፊ ሞልቶ የሚፈስበት የቅን የዘራፊ ገና 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 ምን አይተሽ ትያለሽ ገና ገና ምን አይተሽ ትያለሽ ደንዬ 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 የትም ጃዳለው እግሬ ካደረሰው ደንዬ ቤቱ ለእንግዳ ነው ወትሮም የጎጃም ሰው ወትሮም ያገሬ ሰው ደንዬ ያባየ ጣና እናት የፍቅር አብነት ደንዬ ለምለም አገር ጎጃም አምሳለ ገነት አምሳለ ገነት ደንዬ 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 ትከሻውን ሰበቅ በቁመት መታ የሞተን ያነቃል የጎጃም እስክስታ አታሞው ብቱት ወድሞ ቃርጉለት አማራው ይጨሳል አንድ ምት ያለለት ደኔ ደኔ
البين